Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to talk about the Stem Sorc Werewolf build Rage. I'm actually really excited about this build because there is a new cool set in Clockwork City. I will get into that later. I do have a written guide on my website. I will put the link in the description, and I also highly recommend watching my Werewolf guide. It has some really advanced tips for werewolves there, like just mechanics in general and all kind of stuff. That is very important if you really want to master Werewolf. Werewolf is not easy to use, so it will take time. But in the first part of the video, we're gonna talk about the basics, gear setup, CP and all that kind of stuff. The second part, I will talk a little bit about the Werewolf mechanics, combos, and show off some quick gameplay. Now basically, when we look at the human form, just really quickly, you also dish out quite a lot of damage. You have Daily Cloak, Blood Craze, you can keep the enemies busy with Dizzying Swing, Crit Rush, Hurricane. Werewolf, the idea behind Werewolf is that you use this only when you have very tanky or almost impossible to kill targets. Because if you master Werewolf, even the tankiest target will die, because the combo you actually can pull off is just too strong to actually survive, unless the enemy has like 60k health or something. Anyway, just to quickly check our stats. As you can see, we are in heavy armor. Stamina recovery is pretty high. Our max stem is really high. Health in Cyrodiil would be like 24k. We missed the Battle Spirit. And 14k max Magicka. This is, of course, with champion points, but the build will also work in the no CP campaign. You just need to do a few more heavy attacks. And we also have a Dark Deal, which helps, obviously. Other than that, our resistances are pretty decent, like 20k plus, and we have a lot of crit resistance. We're using the Warrior Mundus Stone to boost our weapon damage, which is especially helpful in Werewolf. What race should you use? Basically, Redguard, Orc, Imperial, Khajiit, all of them work. I prefer Redguards because they have the best sustain with Adrenaline Rush. Orcs are also very strong because you get more healing and more melee damage, which is very helpful in Werewolf. Please don't forget to subscribe. I will definitely upload more build videos in the future. Now, what sets do I use? Basically, it's nothing really new. We're using the Bone Pirate combined with Dubious Cameron Throne. Like, this combo is very strong. You see, this gives us stamina recovery, health, and stamina. That's why we have such high values. You see, while you have a drink buff active, your max stem is increased by 2k and stamina recovery by 147. So you get a lot of stamina recovery, and because we use the buff or this drink, you also get more health. So it's just, that's why my max stem is so high, and in Werewolf form it will even get higher. All weapon damage on the jewelry. We have Selene as monster set on top of so what you need to know, all your sets work in Werewolf form, so Selene will proc in Werewolf form, and it's a lot of damage. They don't avoid it. You could use any other set. You can use Velidref if you want. You can use whatever you want. You also can use like one Velidref or one Kina to even get more weapon damage. But for me, Selene gives the best results because on top of the insane burst damage, you just, like, you have even more. Maybe you don't even need it. Maybe you want a more defensive set. Maybe Troll King. Troll King, very strong, especially in Werewolf. You have so high resistances, don't get that much incoming damage, and it's very hard to actually kill you. That would be a second option. I would say Selene or Troll King. Now the last new set is Mechanical Acuity, or however you pronounce that. Now what does this set do? You see, It gives us weapon and spell damage, max stem, max magicka. It's very nice. We need max magicka. It's both very important for a stamina Sorc in human form and werewolf. So it's actually very handy. 5-piece buff. A bonus. When you deal damage, you have a 15% chance to gain mechanical vision for 5 seconds, causing your attacks to always be critical strike. It has 18 seconds cooldown. So it lasts 5 seconds, and after 13 seconds you can use it again. Now most people might think, well, 18 seconds sounds like a lot of time. Well, yeah, might be. Does it matter? Not really. That's why I say this set will not be that easy to use, because you need to time your burst correctly. I just recommend for players, like if you have never used the set, just ignore the proc of the of this set, and after playing a lot with this new set, you'll probably get used to it. You will know, okay, now soon it's time, so you can proc again, and then you know you can dish out damage. But it will be very tricky at the start. We have the 2 weapons here. I have a dagger and an axe. Now you could use 2 axes if you want to. I just feel like I want a little bit more crit in human form. And use this. So it's actually nice, but you don't necessarily need it. You could use a sword. But then again, those passives here are not active in werewolf form. It doesn't matter whether you have an axe or dagger or whatever, it's just for human form. However, the weapon traits and enchantments are active in werewolf form. The Nernhound will give you more weapon damage, and Decisive will give you faster ulti gen, which is not useful in werewolf because you don't generate ultimate, but this is good in human form. Weapon damage enchantment on the off bar, and here the poison damage. Another small damage tick that we have. Back bar, we have a 2-hander sword. Now you can run infused, you can run defending if you want to get some more resist. You can run sharpen. There is a lot of vampires in this game, so I actually think the damage undead and the Raider enchantment is very strong. That's why I use it. As you can see, when we weapon swap, we have 4 pieces active, so we only lose the 5-piece bonus on our front bar. Which is not a big deal, to be honest. Especially because we're in human form. You need to apply dots anyway, and trust me, this set has a 15% chance to proc on any type of damage. So if you have Hurricane active, you have Deadly Cloak active, use Block Raise. It will 100% proc. It's so easy to proc. That about the gear setup. Now, is this the only possible setup? No. If you don't like this set, you could run Hunting's Rage to get more overall weapon damage. It's really up to you. I just really like this set because it adds another layer of difficulty and combos to the game. But I will get into that later. Champion points. Now another point why this is actually so strong is because of CP, especially in the CP campaign. You know, our highest damage skill is Whole of Agony in Werewolf. That's direct damage, so it gets buffed by Mighty, by Piercing, by Precise Strikes, and by Master at Arms, Light Attacks and Whole of Agony. And it's just so much damage. 19% here, 12 here. That's, well, I don't know how much, maybe a 6% damage increase, and here 20%. There's a lot of things, and you know, when the Asuiti set procs, you will always get a critical strike thing. Not for long, but yeah, it's more than enough to kill off a target. Thaumaturge, I use this because werewolves have a lot of dots. By a lot, like, you have bleed from light attack, you have claw of life, you have infection. It's just so much things. 40, 20, 37. It doesn't really matter how you distribute them here, but I like to have some block chance and roll dodge reduction. This here can also be nice if you choose to run something that debuffs the enemy with healing. Like, there is Claw of Life. I will get into that later. Tenacity, heavy attacks, restore resources. Now, we probably do quite a lot of heavy attacks. Well, it depends. In Werewolf, it can be useful. I will show you later. 56 Mooncalf, 21 Warlord. You have to break free a lot. It will take a lot of damage. 49, 49, 48, 30, 14, 40. Now, you can find this all on my website. Skills in human form. Streak. Now this is very important. This is your CC ability. You can avoid a lot of damage with that. If you get hit by too many people, it's easy just to go around the corner and do something. Wait, regen. Deadly Cloak reduces AoE damage by 25% and also deals damage. This can also be active in Werewolf form. Blood Craze. A nice damage over time effect, so you have a dot here, and it also heals you. Which is nice. Dark Deal. You use up Magicka, you get stamina and health back. That's why I say it's important to have a decent amount of max Magicka. If you want, you can even get more. If you think I don't need that much stamina, you can get more max Magicka. Vigor, basically strong stamina heal, nothing more to say. Werewolf Berserker, while slotted, you get 15% more stem recovery. And yeah, because we are a Sorc. Where is it? Power Stone. 15% ultimate cost reduction. So usually costs 300, but for us it's only 255. And also, you can run this on other classes too. But I will get into a second why a Sorc is stronger in Werewolf form than any other setup. Back bar, forward momentum. Now you can also run rally. If you are alone, maybe it's better to run rally. If you play in a small group or a train or whatever, you can run forward momentum. Because you will most likely have healers. Then this really helps because you cannot get immobilized or snared for 8 seconds. Crit Surge. When you deal a crit strike, you heal for 3k. So it has a 1 second cooldown. This is very strong. Makes killing a Sorc or the Werewolf very difficult. Hurricane gives you Major Resolve and Major Ward, buffing your physical and spell resistance, giving you more movement speed. If you have Orc on top of that, you're really fast. And it deals also a lot of damage. It also can proc Implosion. This is also a very strong passive. Dizzying Swing. Now this is our CC ability. It also deals a lot of damage. And our Gap Closer. Another thing I really want to mention, Master Two-Hander Sword. If you want, you can use a Master Two-Hander instead of a normal two-hander of this set. Like, this is just easy to get because you can craft this. This drops in Blackheart Haven, this in Celine's Web. But this, you can just craft it. Master Two-Hander takes a little while to get. But it's really strong, especially against several enemies. You could use this here with a Master Two-Hander. Like, let me actually check. Yeah, whatever. And I do have Dawnbreaker Smithing. Now, you don't necessarily always need to go in Werewolf. You can play this in human form as well. This is also a strong ability. It stuns the enemy, knocks them down, deals a lot of damage. You see, it only costs 107 ultimate. This is our basic setup. Now I want to talk a little bit about the Werewolf. Like I previously mentioned, sets are still active in Werewolf. And about the abilities. You want to have the Werewolf Berserker. Because the other one, yeah, it's nice to have some some wolf puppies around you, but they die too fast and they're stupid as fuck. So this here is way stronger because while transformed, first off, transforming the beast, fearing up to 3 nearby enemies. For a split second when you transform, you're immune to all damage, and when you transform, you fear the 3 nearest targets. It helps a lot. Then while transform, your light attacks cause enemies to bleed for 18k physical damage over 8 seconds. And you get 10k physical and spell resistance. That's why you have such huge ass resistances in Werewolf. And the bleeding, you see it's 18k. That's like fucked up shit. And light attacks also deal a lot of damage, I will show you later. So already that alone, like the bleed alone is so strong. It's fucking insane. Then when you transform into werewolf, all those abilities go away. You only have 1 bar basically with those abilities. Feral Pounce, this is your gap closer. It also gives, you see, pouncing from at least 10 meters away adds 4 seconds to the duration of your werewolf transformation, so you get more time. Piercing's Rage, and it deals a lot of damage too. And you see, like, stuns the enemy for 2 seconds if they were already set off balance. Only if they're set off balance, which is very unlikely. This is a buff, lasts 20 seconds, gives you 10% more weapon damage. And it heals you. This is your heal. That's why I say Magicka is important. Because you want to use the heal. And because we are in heavy armor. This passive here keeps proccing. You restore 108 magic and stamina when you take damage. Has a 4-second cooldown. Not a lot, but it's something. It helps. Oh yeah, what I forgot to mention is we are using basically 5 heavy, 2 medium because we have Bone Pirate. You're using a medium belt and a medium feet. Then you need to have all those heavy. And I have tri-stack glyphs on all things. Impen on the small pieces, infuse on the big piece. Now let's continue with the werewolf. That about this. You see, it's not cheap. 4.3k Magicka. Rousing Roar. This here, it fears enemies and it sets them off balance for 3.3 seconds. It gives you major brutality. You could also use the other morph, Ferocious Roar, if you don't need the major brutality. But I actually do think it's nice because it allows us to use several potions, which I will talk about later. Because, yeah, whatever. Now, Hole of Agony, so you see, this is basically our Wrecking Blow. 15.5k physical damage in human form, it will get more in werewolf. You see. Deals 30% more damage to enemies that are feared. If you fear enemy, you use this. That dude is just is done, okay? Nothing more to say. Claws of Life. I recommend using this morph because you see, heals you for 50% of disease damage done, which is very important. It deals 6k physical damage on impact and another 17k damage over 10 seconds. So it's another dot on top of the bleeding dot. Very strong. The other morph places, I think, major defile on the enemies, reducing their healing, incoming healing. Quickly about the passives, so you see increases stamina, your heavy attacks restore by 100%, so this is really nice, because our abilities are expensive. See, like, almost 4k, 3k. There's no cheap abilities in Werewolf. If you feed on a target, once it's dead, you get longer duration. Then Blood Rage. So every time you get damage, you gain 3 seconds more time in werewolf form. That's why you could stay in werewolf form for quite a long time, which I don't necessarily recommend. Blood Moon, whatever. 18% more weapon damage. And if you play with other players, you see you get a lot of cost reduction. You can stay long in werewolves. That's it about the basics. Now I want to talk about like how most people play werewolf wrong. Like, the thing is, you need to know you should use werewolf as a means to burst enemies down, nothing more. Sure, if you're in a group, you have a healer, you can stay in werewolf form longer, but you know, you're like huge ass target, so people will start focusing you. Now, why is Stem Sorc the best for a werewolf? Mostly because we have Hurricane and Crit Surge, and some nice passives. But here, Crit Surge, this stays active when you go werewolf. You keep getting the heals when you crit. You will have the physical and spell resistance, you will have the extra movements. That's the reason. That's why I said this holds for 33 seconds. The moment Crit Surge falls off, you should really retransform, because you will have no other means of healing except for Hircine's Rage. Very important. That's the biggest mistake people make. They stay too long in werewolf form, their buffs fall off, they die. But once you nuke down your target, which you will for sure after some practice, you transform back. Because here in human form we have enough heals and all that kind of stuff. You only really want to kill specific, tanky, annoying heal bots or whatever. Now I quickly want to showcase. Like I said, light attack to apply bleed, claws of life to apply dot. And then you want to use rousing roar, because when the enemy is blocking, he doesn't get a lot of damage from hole, but you use this to fear him, and then you use Hole of Agony, light attack, Hole of Agony, and he's dead. Sure, he doesn't fight, we'll get into gameplay in a second, but you see he has 36k health. So rebuff everything before you go werewolf, because you want to have all your buffs active. And you see, we have way more weapon damage now and max stem and all kind of resistance. You apply light attack this, then you fear. He's ripped. I mean, sure, he didn't react to it, but you saw how fast I got through 36k health. If we had the weapon damage enchantment proc, it would be at like 4.4k. You have seen the new set also proc that gives you kind of a nice frenzy mode around your display. Looks cool. Now just to quickly recap. So we had Hurricane proc on him, Blade Cloak, another dot, Infection is another dot, Claws of Life is another dot, the Werewolf Bleed, Hole of Agony, and the Light Attack. And you see, there is so many dots. The moment you fear your enemy, he will most likely not have time to break free till the first Hole of Agony hits him, unless it's a really good player. So yeah, that's the thing. And he will get knocked down, you see, and stunning them for 3 seconds. So it's really strong. Now let's get into some gameplay. Non-heavy armor targets are basically insta-dead. All you need to do is light attack, Hole of Agony, another light attack, and they're dead. Light attacks hit really hard, Hole of Agony knocks them back. Bleeding will also tick for 3 to 5k, like they have no chance, they're dead before they can stand up. And you see, we are really tanky, we take so much damage. Sure, I have a healer in the group, but still, like, so much shit is hitting me at the same time, and I'm still not dead. Charge heavy attack, Hole of Agony, light attack, Hole of Agony, goodbye.
I see the dude is perma blocking. I use fear, light attack, hole of agony, light attack, hole of agony, and he's dead before he can break free. So that's how you kind of can deal with heavy armor targets.
Make sure to follow me on Twitch. I stream sometimes PvP, sometimes PvE. And yeah, it depends what build I use, but I will definitely play this Werewolf build because it's really strong and fun to play, at least for me. I really like Werewolf. Make sure to not forget to subscribe. I will definitely upload more videos, both PvE and PvP in the future. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comment section below. I apologize, the video got a little bit too long, but there was so much things to explain because it's quite difficult to use Werewolf correctly. Till then, thank you for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.